What's up guys, Brian Grant from ContestChampion.com here, and today I've got another math-based video for you all. Don't worry, you don't have to do any math. I've done all the number crunching for us. Today, I specifically want to know how many Tier 1 catalysts it would require for you to sell in order to obtain a Tier 4 catalyst. Now, there are a couple of things to note here. The math works out exactly the same whether we're talking about basic catalysts or whether we're talking about class catalysts. Alpha catalysts are not going to be talked about here because if you notice, if you try to sell an alpha catalyst, all you get is gold, even though there is a tier 2 catalyst in the game currently. Also, if you try to sell a tier 4 catalyst, let's go back up here, try to sell a tier 4 catalyst, you get the same thing, just gold. So we're going to leave Tier 5 catalysts and Alpha 2 catalysts out of the equation for now. Alright, so what do I mean by selling enough catalysts to get a Tier 4 catalyst? Well, if you sell your Tier 1 catalysts, you'll get enough fragments to get the next tier. And if you repeat that, sell all of Tier 2 catalysts, we're going to get enough fragments to reach the next tier. And if you sell your Tier 3 catalyst, you will get enough, eventually, to get a Tier 4 catalyst. Now, some might think, yeah, you have to sell a ton of them to actually get the Tier 4 catalyst. And you're right. I've done the numbers. Let's go to the spreadsheet. Okay, here we are with the numbers. I'll go over everything for you guys. We have on the left side here, tiers 1 through 4. These are the shards for a full catalyst, 300, 650, 2800, and 36,000. And by the way, I know they're called fragments, but I don't know, mentally I just kind of imagine them as shards. Moving on, we have the shard gain from selling a catalyst. So if you sell a tier 1 catalyst, you will get 100 tier 2 fragments. If you sell a tier 2 catalyst, you will get 130 of the tier 3, and if you sell a tier 3, you will get 180 of the tier 4 fragments or shards or whatever. And these are the amount that you need to sell for a full catalyst of the next tier. So if you sell 6.5 of these tier 1 catalysts, you will get a tier 2 catalyst. Likewise, if you sell 21.5 of the tier 2s, you will get a tier 3, and if you sell 200 of the tier 3s, you will get a tier 4. These are the amount of tier 1s to sell to get a full catalyst of any tier. So we already know that you need to sell 6.5 of the tier 1 to get a full tier 2. You need to sell 140 of the tier 1 catalyst to reach a tier 3 catalyst, and you'll need 28,000 of the tier 1 catalyst to get a tier 4 catalyst. Someone pointed out in my other math video where I was going over how many 2-star crystals it would take to reach a 5-star that there is no such thing as half when it comes to catalysts or crystals. I mean, technically there's, but you can't sell a half is what they were getting at. So I said next time around I would do both. I would do both numbers, and although I don't have it labeled here, these are what the numbers actually came out to be. So you need to sell 7 to get a tier 2. You need to sell 143 to get a tier 3, and you would only need to sell 2 extra for it to actually work out. So this number is pretty close. That's why I usually just, go with this number. It's close enough. But in this case, if we want to be exact, if you sold 28,002 tier 1 catalysts, you would get a full tier 4 catalyst. I'm not that great at showing work, but in case you wanted to see it, you can pull out some numbers here. I'm not even going to go over this. I don't want to confuse anybody or anything like that. So 28,000 is the main number here, but I have 2 more of these little boxes here to uncover, and that is because you also get gold for selling a catalyst. So let's figure out how much gold you would get in the process of getting one of these tier 4 catalysts. So for selling a tier 1, you get 394 gold per catalyst. Selling a tier 2, you get 649. Selling a tier 3, you get 1610. And please don't sell a tier 4 catalyst, ever. Maybe not ever, maybe somewhere in the future. Anyway, these are the numbers. This is the gold that you will get. And I use the exact numbers here just to avoid decimal places, basically. But anyway, the gold that you would get is you'd have to calculate 28,002 of the tier 1s. It comes out to 4308 of the tier 2 catalysts and 200 of the tier 3. So these are the numbers separately, and this is the total gold that you'll get, which is just over 14 million gold if you did this. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good amount of gold. To be realistic, I have sold over 200 of the tier 3s. These other numbers, they're a joke. You're never going to get 28,000 of tier 1 catalysts. But tier 3s, I've definitely sold over 200. I've probably sold 400 at this point. So this gold actually adds up. I've definitely gotten at least over 500,000 gold just from selling tier 3 catalysts, along with getting at least one, and like I said, it's probably 2 or maybe even more full tier 4 catalysts just from selling these things. I usually get about 100 a month. That will be for another video, so stay tuned for that. In this one, I just kind of wanted to keep it short, just show you the numbers. Again, we're looking at about 28,000 of the tier 1s, if that was the key number for you, like it was for me. Alright, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time.